At the camera.
Don't forget to thank Jane Brooke.
Look, hello
Ivan's
everyone. I'm
coming
just
in
going
to
to get
listen
in
to
front of Ren
Ivan's coming
McIntosh
up.
just to introduce her. So everyone, welcome to the Blue Room as part of the 25 artists who are blogging. Tonight we have Ren McIntosh, so take it away, Ren.
Thanks. While I was waiting for the power to come back on today, and after yelling at the electricity man for making it impossible for me to write my blog without my computer, sorry electricity man, I made a few notes. Like many of my fellow bloggers, I want to thank the Blue Room, not for asking me to speak, but for creating this live blog and allowing me to listen, because it has certainly initiated a critical conversation in my head. And it is to some of the ideas that have been raised that I'm going to respond. My name is Renee McIntosh. I am an actor and independent theatre producer. I graduated from WAPA in 2002 and created Happy Dagger Theatre with my partner in 2005. Thanks to the DCA, we produced Oleanna, as Phil Thompson would call it, a well-made play, in 2006 here at the Blue Room and then downstairs at His Majesty's. Our company's mission is simple: to create essential, honest, present theatre. I agree with Craig Williams, who in his blog reminded us that all it takes to make theatre is a story, some actors and an audience. And with Natalie Homewood, who talked about theatre and humanity. And David Milroy, who mentioned theatre and spirituality. It is for those reasons that I make theatre. Because I am still working out how to live, how to relate to the world, how to live with another who has a different way of looking at the world, how to relate to children, knowing my actions will help shape the way they relate to the world. How do I relate to authority, to my equal? What is the point of my existence on this planet and how can I contribute? Who am I and am I okay? I go to the theatre to feel, observe and share my humanness with those on stage and those in the collective around me. I go to look for answers. Sometimes I get more questions. Sometimes I learn about patience, and sometimes my mind is so blown apart by possibility I don't know where to start. And so in making theatre, this is my aim: to provide the possibility of magic, to allow an audience to experience delight, to allow them the space to grieve, to inspire them to act, to push their tolerance to the limit, to allow them to discover who they are. And so why make theatre in Perth? I was born here. I call it home, although I don't really feel I belong here. Not yet. I confess to having felt a desire to leave many, many times. And I have left and am leaving again this year. I confess to having gushed over those Europeans and how I thought the theatrical grass was so much greener everywhere other than here. I even confess to having joined the view that once I'd worked in Melbourne or Sydney, then I really would have made it. But what I've learnt over the last few years is that A, as Tim Watts said, crap theatre exists even in Europe, and B, that my desire to leave is not about being ashamed of Perth, but about a yearning to know other cultures, to know why theatre is essential to others, to allow that to feed me as a human being, to help me discover a sense of belonging within the bigger picture, and hopefully to reconcile with the land I call home. David Milroy asked the question, where do I belong? This is something that I have struggled with a lot. As a non-Indigenous Australian, I feel a great sense of embarrassment at being here, calling this my home, and knowing so little about the land and its original owners. My family has been in Australia for so many generations, I don't feel I can call England or call myself English or European either. So when we are, as storytellers, are asked to tell our stories, I don't really know what they are. Mine are certainly not ones of yabbies and backyard cricket and barbecues. I think I stay in Perth because I call it home, but I don't know it yet. I haven't yet reconciled how to live on this land and call myself a West Australian. This year I leave to Asia, next year to Europe. Hopefully, soon after, I will have the courage to explore my own country and its culture. Maybe then I will belong. It's interesting to me that home is so important to West Australians. I was on the naming committee for the new theatre, and home was a theme which came up again and again as we searched for what we as Perth artists felt the name should reflect. The story of the naming of the new theatre is one that left me heartbroken and betrayed, which leads me to something raised by Jeff Kelso in his blog. I started out, like many other emerging artists, as an enthusiastic lover of theatre who was ready to revamp the town and spread theatre love all over it. And I was always surprised by my elders who seemed bitter and angry and betrayed, until I joined in the consultation process. I thought I'd do my bit for the community and participate in several day-long forums offering my ideas and experience in the hope of inspiring change and growth within the arts community. There's always so much effort put into these things and we're always fed and made to feel very appreciated. But unfortunately, after attending 2, 3, 4, 5 consultation invitations, you begin to wonder where these ideas are going. Obviously, the process takes years to complete, but when you get the results that are in complete opposition to the majority view on the day, you do start to lose faith and wonder if, in fact, you have succeeded in nothing more than ticking a box. It was a new thought to me that my artistic contributions be paid for. How often we undervalue our worth as artists and are grateful for any opportunity to speak. This is not to say, of course, that we should demand to be paid for everything, just that the playing field be even. Home is something that Gita Bezard talked about as well. She commented on the lack of affordable rehearsal space in town and the desire to have a space to create work over a long period of time. That got me thinking that wouldn't it be wonderful if each major theatre company here in Perth could dedicate one of their rehearsal rooms to an independent theatre company each year for their use full time. Then I realised, how can the major theatre companies do that if they don't have a home themselves? This is something that's been talked about a lot, not only in Perth, but all over Australia in the last few years. The need for companies to have a home, and the need for audiences to associate a company with a particular space. The new venue is going to provide the State Theatre Company with a home, which is definitely a step in the right direction. In order for the major companies to, as Emily McLean said, continue to support independent theatre makers over the coming years, I hope that the state government can support the major companies to find their place within WA, and that this in turn will give theatre in Perth a home. Thank you.
Thanks very much to Renee McIntosh. Thank you, Renee.
Lovely. Very well thought. You didn't write that.